नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृन्द। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। भज श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृन्द। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। भज श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृन्द। जय श्रील प्रभुपाद। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। हरि हरि बोल। हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी, प्रणाम प्रभु जी। वेलकम टू द ICF forum प्रभु जी। हरे कृष्णा, प्रणाम प्रभु जी।
Hare Krishna, my Lord, all of you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Can anyone do Jai Radha Madhava for me, please? Can do Jai Radha Madhava, please?
हरे कृष्णा। Any Mataji's?
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Shall I do, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji, please, Mataji.
Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari, Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha, Jaya Girivaradhari, Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha, Jaya Girivaradhari, Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana, Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Vinoda Radhe, Jaya Gaura Sundara Nitya Natavara Sundara Nityananda Natavara, Jai Jagannath, Jai Baladeva, Jai Subhadra Mai, Jai Sudarshana, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Om Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirahe Nastapráyeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavatir uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naistaki krishnaya vasudevaya devaki nandanaya cha nanda gopak kumaraya govindaya namo namaha. Hare Krishna. So I seek your blessings. And welcome to today's Bhagavatam class. So we will be seeing from text 3rd canto, 25th chapter, text number 60 to 20. So I need volunteers to read the shloka. Swati Mataji will be able to read the shloka.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I won't be able to read shloka. I'll be able to read the translation.
Okay, no problem. Meenakshi Mataji, you can read the shloka and yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, pranams. Aham mamabhimanotaihi kamalobhadibhirmalaihi vittam yadha manas shuddham adhukham asukham samam. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, now Mataji, you can read the translation now. Translation and purport.
Yes, Prabhu. Okay. Hare Krishna. Cleansed of the impurity. Prabhuji, I am not getting full screen actually.
Mm-hmm.
It's visible, Prabhuji, now for us.
No, Mataji, I am not able to.
We can see.
Okay, Mataji.
Yes, yes, I got it. When one is completely cleansed of the impurities of the lust and greed produced from the false identification of the body as I and bodily
You're not
possession.
audible, Mataji. Probably you're reading.
Oh,
Or is
We
it
can
only
hear,
for me?
Mataji. You can go
shall I?
ahead with it.
Okay.
Yeah, we can hear. Meenakshi Mataji, please mute.
Body as I and bodily possession as mine. One mind becomes pure state. He transcends the stage of so-called material happiness and distress. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Chandrika Mataji. Chandrika Mataji will be able to read, or you're in the office, or will be able to read. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, you're not audible, Mataji. Your voice is very feeble. Hare Krishna.
Mataji? Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji. Yes, now we can hear.
Kama and Lobha are the symptoms of material existence. Everyone always desires to possess something. It is said here that desire and greed are the products of false identification of oneself with the body. When one becomes free from this contamination, then his mind and consciousness also becomes freed and attain their original state. Mind, consciousness, and the living entity exist. Whenever we speak of the living entity. This includes the mind and consciousness. The difference between conditional life and liberated life occurs when we purify the mind and the consciousness. When they are purified, one becomes transcendental to material happiness and distress. In the beginning, Lord Kapila has said that perfect yoga enables one to transcend the platform of material distress and happiness. How this can be done is explained here. One has to purify his mind and consciousness. This can be done by the Bhakti Yoga system, as explained in the Narada Pancharatra. One's mind and senses should be purified. Tat Paratvena Nirmalam. One's senses must be engaged in devotional service to the Lord. That is the process. The mind must have some engagement. One cannot make the mind vacant. Of course, there are some foolish attempts to try to make the mind vacant or void, but that is not possible. The only process that will purify the mind is to engage in Krishna. The mind must be engaged. If we engage our mind in Krishna, naturally the consciousness becomes fully purified and there is no chance of the entrance of material desires and greed. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरोन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुक्तपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवां च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सगण ललिता श्रीवीणशाखान्वितं च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमदे भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशधारिणे महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरतिशे नमः हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपा तमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरु दीनदारिणं परमानन्दं माधवं श्रीचैतन्येश्वरम् हरिः ओम तत्सत् नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय पुतले श्रीमदे स्वामी प्रभुदाय Hare Krishna. I'm happy to see you. There are 32 people have joined, taken out of your time. Thank you very much. So we are seeing teachings of Lord Kapila and Mother Devahuti. We all know the background. Kardamani has left and Devahuti is realizing, oh my God, what should I do now? My son is also, trying to leave. So then she asks many questions and Lord started answering. So 16, 17, 18, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 5 slokas is it, Mataji? 16 to 20, right?
Hare Krishna. I have no idea of that, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. I'm very sorry.
Okay. I think I have been given.
I'll check, Prabhuji. Just a minute.
So in this shloka, we can see that Devahuti started asking, how do I progress in? How do I get out of this material? 16 to 20. How do I get out of this
Yes,
material? And
Prabhuji. 16 to 20 only, Prabhuji, today.
yeah, thank you. Because see, 5 shlokas in 1 hour itself too much, and especially teachings of Lord Kapiladev is too much to cover it in particular time frame. But I'll just quickly tell. But today focus will be shloka number 20 about the association. So today I've chosen the topic of association as the key. So getting into the context, so here this is the concept. When one is completely cleansed of impurities, of lust and greed, we know in Bhagavad Gita, clearly Krishna also calls out the lust and greed are the root causes of our material happiness as well as distress. Once we come out of this bodily concept, lust and greed, then we will be able to uh, uh, we can see this so-called happiness and distress equally. The problem is that especially in the family life, uh, it's very difficult to come out of this bodily concept as well as the attachment to the various things. So for example, to give an example, ideally, this is the ideal situation, but most of the time that's the how one should live detached, is that for example, there is one guest who has come to your house and he has some work, but he said, I will stay 1 week and I'll go back. And that person was staying with you, then there is some issue had happened in your house, not by him, but something else outside. A lot of problem happened. So this person also staying with you, he also helped you out to overcome that problem with the neighbor. And also he came to the police station, whatever necessary required, he supported all of that. Then after 10 days, as his work is finished, he went away. But the person who came as a guest, he wouldn't be thinking after some time, oh, I stayed in their house, did so much like that. So Grahastha also, we might have a family members. We should be like that of a guest, uh, coming and taking necessary help required for the family, but at the same time not attached, very detached. But that person who stayed for 10 days, he might remember them incidents and things like that, but he's not too much attached because of that. And he thinks, oh, as a dude, I stayed there, okay, I also helped them. And would have forgotten the incident as well most of the time. That's ideal scenario. But most of the time it's very difficult to come out of this I, me, mind, bodily concept. So because of lack of knowledge, ignorance, then I think because of ignorance, I'm being illusioned. If I'm illusioned, then I always think it is mine. So it's because of ignorance leads to illusion. Because of ignorance and an illusion, I consider myself I belong to this. I am this kind, as well as mine. Oh, this all my family, my properties, and things like that. It's very difficult to overcome this. But this is the first step. What Kapila Dev is instructing. Very practical. How can I overcome? You can overcome this desire and greed. As long as any living entity is born, he will have some desire, some greed. How can you overcome? Purify the consciousness. That's what he says. So, Sudha Mataji, can you read the next shloka? We will focus majority of the time on shloka number 20 today, because that's one of the key important shlokas. Rest we will read, translation, and move on. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Pada Pranam. तदा पुरुष आत्मानं केवलं प्रकृते परं निरन्तरं स्वयं ज्योति अनिमानम् अखण्डितम्. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Shanti Mataji.
Hare
Krishna Prabhu. Translation Srila Prabhupada ki jai. At that time, the soul can see himself to be transcendental to material existence and always self-effulgent, never fragmented, although very minute in size. Purport also, Prabhu?
Vrishabhanu, Mataji,
Prabhu, purport also?
Dandavat Pranam.
Yeah, Vrishabhanu. Yeah.
In the state of pure consciousness, pure consciousness or Krishna consciousness, one can see himself as a minute particle, non-confident from the Supreme Lord. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, the jiva or the individual soul is eternally part and parcel of Supreme Lord. Just as the sun's rays are minute particles of the brilliant constitution of the sun, so a loving entity is a minute particle of Supreme Spirit. The individual soul and the Supreme Lord are not separated as in material differentiation. The individual soul is a particle from the very beginning. One should not think that because the individual soul is a particle, it is the fragmented from the whole spirit. Mayavad philosophy enunciates that the whole spirit exists, but a part of it, which is called the jiva, is entrapped by illusion. This philosophy, however, is unacceptable because spirit cannot be divided like a fragment of matter. The jiva is eternally apart as long as the Supreme Spirit exists. His part and parcel also exist. As long as the sun exists, the molecules of the sun's rays also exist. The jiva particle is
Mataji, thank you. So here Prabhupada tries to explain one example he gives, the sun, who is the Lord himself, the sun rays, and the particle is the jiva. We are part and parcel of that small sun. So that's a molecule. Molecule is referring to jiva here. So Prabhupada gives that example. It's always jiva is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. One comes out of, one understands this, I'm not this body. Then Prabhupada says that they will be able to overcome the lust and greed, which is mentioned in the previous one. The next one, 18th. Shobha Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shloka number 18. Jnana vairagya yuktena bhakti yuktena cha atmana paripashyati udhasinam prakritim cha hathaujasam. Should I read the translation, Mataji, Prabhuji?
And our next person, Padma Mataji.
Hari Bol, thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In that position of self-realization, by practice of knowledge and renunciation in devotional service, one sees everything in the right perspective. He becomes indifferent to material existence, and the material influence acts less powerfully upon him. Thank you, Prabhuji. Pranams.
Anushya Mataji. Purport.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, pranams. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. As the contamination of the germs of a particular disease can influence a weaker person, similarly, the influence of material nature or illusionary energy can act on the weaker or conditioned soul, but not on the liberated soul. Self-realization is the position of the liberated state. One understands his constitutional position by knowledge and vairagya, renunciation. Without knowledge, one cannot have realization. The realization that one is the infinitesimal part and parcel of the Supreme Spirit makes him unattached to material conditional life. That is the beginning of devotional service. Unless one is liberated from material contamination, one cannot engage himself in the devotional service of the Lord. In this verse, it is therefore stated, Jnana Vairagya Yuktena. When one is in full knowledge of one's constitutional position and is in the renounced order of life, detached from material attraction, then by pure devotional service, Bhakti Yuktena, he can engage himself as a loving servant of the Lord. Paripashyati means that he cannot see everything in its right perspective. Then the influence of material nature becomes almost nil. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma. When one is self-realized, he becomes happy and free from the influence of material nature. And at the time, he is freed from lamentation and hankering. The Lord states that position as beginning devotional service. Similarly, it is confirmed in the Narada Pancharatra that when the senses are purified, they can be engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. One who is attached to the material contamination cannot be a devotee. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
So, Lord is explaining to Mother how to control that mind, greed and lust. And she says that through knowledge and vairagya, one can able to differentiate. Prabhupada gives a wonderful example. When during the COVID, there are many people who got not much of immune system, they are all affected. So Prabhupada is telling here the disease, the germs is equal to weaker person is equal to material energy. The more the attachment, we are more not having the immune power. So the more the spiritual activity we do, then we are protected by the spiritual activity. Prabhupada gives a wonderful analogy to realize, very simple. A person is weaker, means that he's attached too much attached to the, he is very much attached to the other material aspects of life. So that's one thing. And second aspect is that Prabhupada is talking about jnana and vairagya. So this too also comes out of the lower modes of material nature. Can anyone tell vairagya comes out of which modes of nature?
Is it mode of goodness?
Sattva guna, goodness.
Renunciation.
That is also.
Vairagya comes from Rajoguna.
Okay. So one more thing we need to deeply understand is that just by knowledge, one people cannot get renunciation. What is this, Prabhu? Generally, unless you know about something, then you can renunciate. It is bad, then you need to know, you need to have the knowledge. Then you can renunciate. Not necessarily. You can sometimes you can see people in the cigarette, it's written smoking is injurious to health, and knowledge is there. But still people what they continue to do, not able to renunciate. So, knowledge not necessarily is a renunciation. It of course it helps initially to understand, to renunciate, but that knowledge alone will not be able to control the mind. And here importance of taking devotion service, bhakti is the only way the Lord is telling that only by beginning of devotion service we can will be able to get out of this contamination. That's what he says. Text number 19. Vasudha Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Na yujyamana ya bhaktya bhagavati akhilatmani sadruso asti siva panta yoginam brahma siddhaye.
Nandini Mataji, translation, please.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Perfection in self-realization cannot be attained by any kind of yogi unless he engage in devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For that is the only auspicious path. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Krishnamurti Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, pranams Prabhuji. Purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada ki jai. That knowledge and renunciation are never perfect unless joined by the devotional service is explicitly explained here. Na yujyamanya means without being devotalized. When there is devotional service, then the question is where to offer that service. Devotional service is to be offered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Who is the super soul of everything? For that is the only reliable path of self-realization or Brahman realization. The word Brahma Siddhaye means to understand oneself to be different from matter, to understand oneself to be Brahman. The Vedic words are Aham Brahmasmi. Brahma Siddhi means that one should know that he is not matter, he is pure soul. There are different kinds of yogis, but every yogi is supposed to engage in self-realization or Brahman realization. It is clearly stated here that unless one is fully engaged in the devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one cannot have easy approach to the path of Brahma Siddhi. Shall I continue, Prabhuji?
No, Prabhu, thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare
Yeah,
Krishna.
Prabhupada again wonderful in the beginning of second chapter, Vasudeva Bhagavati, Bhakti Yoga Prayojita, Jana Yattu Vairagyam, Jnanancha Yathaitukam. So the spiritual knowledge, again, Prabhupada talks about the renunciation of the material world, automatically comes one who takes to devotional service. So as per the process is explained. So let us come to that here. So this is the important shloka of 20. Here the practical solution is given. Okay, I know now bhakti is the supreme. I need to control my mind. I need to get knowledge. But how do I do that? Because it's very difficult. So here practical solution is association. Lord Kapila Dev talks about why the association is very, very, very important. So that one can same attachment. In this shloka, wonderful shloka, he says, instead of attaching the material things, you can remove the attachment. You can divert that to a Vaishnava or a devotee. So there is one example, like, if you go to the ocean, there's a great scientist in the entire world. There is a greatest scientist is there. You go and tell him, scientist, I will give you millions of dollars. You take whatever you required from the ocean, but give me half kg of sugar. Do you think you'll be able to produce from the salty water half kg of sugar? The scientist would say, quintals of salt if you want, but so from salt water I can't take out sugar, right? Similarly, the detachment is something which we can't do. Why? Because it is not there. For example, why we are not able to progress in the spiritual life? Because of attachment to the material thing. So then how do I progress? Detach it. It's possible because detachment is something which is not there. Please understand, this is a very wonderful topic. As in the ocean, we can't take out sugar. Similarly, within us, there is no detachment. Some way or other, somebody needs to attach to it, either to the cat, dog, nation, family, something or other. What case you will be attached to a laptop or mobile, internet. Either something you will be attached to. There is nothing called detachment, renunciation. That's not possible. Renunciation means you divert your attachment from material to spiritual. That's called renunciation. It is not that completely you can detach from anything. That is not possible because it's not within us. Within that is not a character of detaching something and going in isolation. That's not possible. So that's why this wonderful shloka has come. Prashanti Mataji, please, you can read one line and all of you can unmute and repeat this shloka twice. So she would read one line and all of you can repeat it twice. Like that, you can read all the 4 lines. So this is a very memorization shloka. Everybody needs to memorize this shloka. very wonderful teachings of Lord Baladev. Please go ahead, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, pranams. Prasangam ajaram pasham.
Prasangam ajaram pasham.
One more time.
Prasangam
ajaram
pasham. Two times, Prabhuji.
That's
Repetition.
over. Now we can go to the second line.
Atmana kavayo viduhu.
Atmana
kavayo viduhu. Atmana kavayo viduhu. Saeva sadhushu krito. Saeva sadhushu krito. Mokshadvaram apavritam.
Mokshadvaram
Mataji, you read the one shloka completely, then we all do twice, we will repeat it. Entire shloka. You read the entire shloka.
Myself, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Prasangam ajaram pasham atmanah kavayo viduhu saeva sadhushukrito mokshadvaram apavritam.
All of us together.
Ajaram pasham atmanah mokshadvaram apavritam. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Can you, anybody can help to read the translation and purport? We will read this entire stuff, then we will start the class today.
Hare Krishna, can I read or who didn't read? We can.
Somebody who is not at read.
Yes,
Already not at read.
Prabhuji,
Hare
can I
Krishna.
read? This is Nidhi here.
Yeah, Kushum Lata Varma Mataj.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah, translation.
Yeah, reading. Every learned man knows very well that attachment for the material is the greatest entanglement of the spirit soul. But that same attachment, when applied to the self-realized devotees, opens the door of liberation. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Anita Mataji, do you want to read the first paragraph?
Yes, Prabhuji. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Here it is clearly stated that attachment for one thing is the cause of bondage in conditioned life, and the same attachment, when applied to something else, opens the door of liberation. Attachment cannot be killed, it has simply to be transferred. Attachment for material things is called material consciousness, and for Krishna or his devotee, this attachment is called Krishna consciousness. Consciousness is therefore the platform of attachment. It is clearly stated here that when we simply purify the consciousness from material consciousness to Krishna consciousness, we attain liberation. Despite the statement that one should give up attachment, desirelessness is not possible for a living entity. A living entity by constitution has a propensity to be attached to something. We see that if someone has no object of attachment, if he has no children, then he transfers his attachment to cats and dogs. This indicates that the propensity for attachment cannot be stopped. It must be utilized for the best purpose. Our attachment for material things perpetuates our conditional state, but the same attachment, when transferred to the Supreme Personality of Godhead or his devotee, is the source of liberation. Hare Krishna.
Amita Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji, I just read.
Hare Krishna. Here it is recommended that attachment should be transferred to the self-realized devotees, the sadhus. And who is a sadhu? A sadhu is not just an ordinary man with a saffron robe or long beard. A sadhu is described in Bhagavad Gita as one who unflinchingly engages in devotional service. Even though one is found not to be following the strict rules and regulations of devotional service, If one simply has unflinching faith in Krishna, the Supreme Person, he is understood to be a sadhu. Sadhur eva sa mantavyah. A sadhu is a strict follower of devotional service. It is recommended here that if one at all wants to realize Brahman or spiritual perfection, his attachment should be transferred to the sadhu or devotee. Lord Chaitanya also confirmed this Lava Matra Sadhu Sange Sarva Siddhi Hai. Simply by a moment's association with a sadhu, one can attain perfection. Mahatma is a synonym of sadhu. It is said that service to a Mahatma or elevated devotee of the Lord is
Mataji,
Dwaram
can
Ahur.
Sharmila Mataji read? If don't mind, Sharmila Mataji can finish.
Hare Krishna. Mahatma is Hare Krishna. Mahatma is a synonym of sadhu. It is said that service to a Mahatma or elevated devotee of the Lord is Dwaram Ahur Vimuktehe, the royal road of liberation. Mahat Sevam Dwaram Ahur Vimuktes Tamo Dwaram Yoshitam Sangi Sangam. Bhagavatam 5.5.2. Rendering service to the materialist has the opposite effect. If anyone offers service to a gross materialist or a person engaged only in sense enjoyment, then by association with such a person, the door to hell is opened. The same principle is confirmed here. Attachment to a devotee is attachment to the service of the Lord, because if one associates with a sadhu, the result will be that the sadhu will teach him how to become a devotee, a worshipper, and a sincere servitor of the Lord. These are the gifts of a sadhu. If we want to associate with a sadhu, we cannot expect him to give us instructions on how to improve our material condition, but he will give us instructions on how to cut the knot of the contamination of the material attraction and how to elevate ourselves in devotional service. That is a result of associating with the sadhu. Kapila Muni, first of all, instructs that the path of liberation begins with such association. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Now, all of you give a very, very attentive to this topic. This is very, very important, very practical as well. Because if you anywhere you take Srimad Bhagavatam, if any philosophical references, then it will come from 11th canto, Uddhava Gita, and some on the Rasa Tattva, you also 10th canto they will refer. But third canto, many of the time Srila Prabhupada quotes, especially Lord Kapila Dev's teaching, and he also wrote one book, Lord Kapila Dev teaching separately. He gave a lecture, then all these experts taken and they published as a book. And this is also very, very important. Session 25, 26 is all talks about Lord Kapila Dev's teaching. And this is especially very, very practical, how attachment can be diverted from material to a sadhu. As I said, there is no detachment. When you say prasangam, here Prabhupada translates to attachment. It's what sangam. For example, if I go to office, some of you are already in office, you have a lot of colleagues. That you may not, it is not a too much attachment. You just go deal with them, get your money and come back. What prasanga means, let's say same person comes to home, you don't deal like that, your family member. So there is some element of love. That element of love is that Prabhupada is translating to attachment. Prasangam majaram pasan. Come out of entanglement. Who is that? Viduhu, the person who is, Kavayaha, the person who is learned, the person who is intelligent, he will have this attachment that he will apply to the sadhu. Saeva sadhus kruto mokshadvaram apavritam. For the liberation, one should transfer the attachment to the material to the Vaishnavas. That's what we are going to see. So there are a couple of examples I'll give. Then probably we can have more discussion on those. Just give me a second. Just give me a second. I'll share some slide. It's not working. Okay. I'll anyway share. I'm not able to. You're able to see my PPT?
Yes,
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
I don't know why it's not going in the slide mode. So the power of association of the devotees, right? It could be either material, thing, or it could be as good uh, as good as your mobile or internet, or it could be a physical thing, loving cat and dogs and things like that. Somebody somewhere needs to have attachment. You can never say I am detached. Now, for example, if any devotee not having too much anchoring to have a devotee association, or other way around, you can see, whenever he has a time, oh, let me see this new video which has come. Let me see what is happening in the election. Let me see what is happening somewhere else. Oh, let me know some news. So, which means that excessive attachment to that he's not he's not attracted to the Vaishnava association. If it is a Vaishnava association, then you will not spend time. You will be spending as to, oh, okay, how do I learn Srimad Bhagavatam? How do I learn about more about Krishna Katha, what's happening? So that would be the attachment. If somebody is lacking that, then you know that, for association, there is Vaishnava association. So that's what it means. To give a couple of examples, as good as well as bad, how one can transform one. Indra, there is one rishi who was doing tapas in the forest, and he's becoming really tapasvi. He's not attached. He went to the forest, he detached from everything, and he was so focused in his sadhana. And Indra thought he will be a competitor for me. So he said, how do I break his tapasya? So one day he disguised himself as a Kshatriya. He went to the forest, he went to this kutir of this Brahmana or who are doing tapasya, and he told that tapasvi that, look, I somehow lost in the forest. I don't know what to do. I want to stay here overnight. Then I will go. And tapasvi thought some attachment come. I don't want to entertain anything. He said, no, nothing doing. Yeah, I can't give any space. I'm tapasvi. I'm really detached from everything. That's the reason I came here, and I don't want to have another attachment here. That's why I did not marry. I left everything, and I don't want to see any human being attack anybody. Then Indra thought, okay, that's fine. I have a big sword. Let me leave it here. I can't carry. I'm feeling exhausted. I will come and pick it up after some time. Is that okay? And he said, okay, anyhow, a sword, leave it and go. He said. He left it, and Indra did not come. One day happened, 2 days happened, 3 days happened. So this guy is looking at this sword. At meditation time, he's always look at it. Oh, this guy came, and what is this? He left it. He didn't come and pick it up. What is this happening? 1 week passed. Then he was cleaning the room. I thought, oh, it's so much dust. It is occupying. They lifted and shifted. So lifted to the corner. Then he cleaned up. Then he started having attraction toward it when he lifting and shifting. They touch few times. Third time he thought, okay, what is he saying? Any other person is not going to come. It is been a month. At least let me, use it for cutting some of the woods or things like that. Once he started going and he just tried to chop up some leaves and things like that, he felt it really great. As soon as he hold the, the wall sword, he felt, more power, and, he'll become really Kshatriya, and started cutting trees, wood, what is required for his daily necessity. But invariably what happened is he was so used to cutting and is so enthusiastic about, passionate about it, he started cutting more than what is required, unnecessarily some trees. Then what happened one day in excessive, he started killing animals also. He started killing human beings also. So what I'm telling is that even small opportunity we give, even though it's a as dumb as the mobile and which is your laptop or any other thing, we give a small space to the internet, small space to the things. Of course, it is required to know basic thing. Yes, you need to, but you need to know differentiate how I'm not trapped by this. See, in fact, attachment to the animals is much better. That's because it's already a living entity, but this non-living entity, and we have to come back. Srila Prabhupada said, even you have a desire to enjoy a small rasagulla or gulab jamun, you have to come back in this lifetime. Unless you are completely detached or diverted your attention to Vaishnava, Sadhu Sangha, and you hear from them. It's not that Sadhu is going to bless you saying that everything will be all right, you will get all the wealth. No, he is going to tell how to remove the knot of the life. This is the austerity penances you have to do. He is going to instruct us. Unless we're going to follow that, and it's going to be the example of the negative aspect of association. So similarly, there is a positive side to it. There is another story which I like to narrate. I think it's Amrish Maharaj brother, who is a non-devotee. So Amrish Maharaj requested Narada Rishi, why don't you preach to my brother? He's having all the regulatory principle breaking. Why don't you advise him? Narada Muni said, no, it's difficult. Your brother is gone case. No, you please request. Narada hesitantly accepted, and he goes and preaches to him. And that king, he's also king. He got really wild and angry. He was in drunkard condition. He started chastising Narada Rishi and chasing him. How dare you to preach to me, right? You get out of here and things like that. So Narada Rishi, no, this is gone case, but still on the request of Amrish, but while going, he just shouting and went. That's fine, but one thing you remember in your death of the life after your death, when Yamadharmaraja or somebody ask this question, what is the power of association? He didn't bother too much about what Narada Rishi is saying, and he left it. So this all happened. So this king has passed away, and he went to Yamadharma. Yamaraj also, he saw his Astra, all the atrocities he has done. He said, you to be punished in hell for eternally, and you have done all the sins, you will be punished. And if you have any last wish, I may fulfill, but because you will never get out of this place. Before you go to all this punishment, you have to say anything. Then this person somehow remembered this Narada Rishi chasing him. He chasing Narada Rishi. Narada Rishi told, what is the power of a pure devotee Vaishnava association? Then he asked this question to Yamadharmaraj. Then Yamadharmaraj was surprised, saying that actually I deal with all the sins. I really don't know the power of Sadhu Sangha. Maybe I think it's better I check with Brahma. Why don't you come with me? We can go together and check with Brahma. Then they all went, two of them, into Brahma. I said, Brahma, what's happening? Why? Who is this new person? Then he said, no, this is how he came. He's a sinful person. But he had a question which I don't have an answer. Brahma said, what is that? Power of association of a pure Vaishnava. Brahma said, well, see, I take care of all this living entity creation and things like that. I myself itself not known completely spirituality. I think better than me is Lord Shiva is Vaishnavana Meda Sambhu. Probably we should ask Sambhu because he is a Vaishnava. He understands much better. So all three of them together, Brahma said, let's go now only to, I also interested to learn. I'm curious, let me go and talk to Shiva. All three came and they were talking to Shiva. Shiva was said, yeah, but I can't explain this tattva because I'm also don't know completely the science of bhakti. It's only Lord Narayana, Vishnu, who can tell us completely because he is the master of all the Vaishnavas and everybody loves himself. So probably we should hear from Lord himself. That would be better than me explaining. So all the four went to Yama, Brahma, Shiva, that other person, the king, sinful king. They all went to Vishnu and they asked, well, Vishnu, we came here because this person is asking, none of us seems to know the exact answer. We might get, but we won't hear from you. What is the power of association? The Lord Vishnu smiled and said, the person who was, all of you come here, that is the proof itself. You're here, you come to Vaikuntha. That is the power of association, he said. Just because of Narada 1 minute association, since he asked, the person is supposed to be in hell, he went to Brahma Loka, from Brahma Shiva Loka, Shiva Loka to Vaikuntha. Who will go to Vaikuntha? Only person purified who is a Shuddha Bhakta only go. But this person, even the sinful, because of association, is already there. You are already in Vaikuntha. What I can do? How will you go back to Naraka now? How can I send you back to Narakunda? Your all the sins are gone because Vaikuntha means anybody who comes here, only the pure devotees can come. So all of you come. You're all pure devotees, including that king. So that's the power of 1 minute association of Narada Rishi, the previous life before your death. It's power of association, right? So like that, in our scriptures, there is a number of examples of how this wonderful association has created a transformation in our life. So this is one aspect. Second aspect is, what is really association? What does that mean? Before we going to that, I have a few questions. So can all of you remember any other pastimes where the association has transformed a person. In our Bhagavatam, let it be Ramayana, it could be negative aspect, how it is influenced, or it could be a positive aspect. So there are at least minimum 20 we need. There are so many examples. Can we go quickly? What are those?
The prostitute who was transformed by the big Vaishnava saint, sitting for 3
Exactly.
days. His association.
Sushiki?
From Rigari,
Yeah.
Prabhuji. Rigari.
Very wonderful. Wonderful. Namacharya Haridas Thakur and prostitute, Mrihari enter and Nardarashi. He just told, why don't you chant? Then he transformed. Okay, who else?
Jagai and Madai.
Jagai Madai.
When they came in touch with
Which Vaishnava association they got?
Nityananda Mahaprabhu.
Nityananda Prabhu.
Nityananda Chaitanya
Okay.
Mahaprabhu.
So anything on the negative? This is all positive. What about negative?
Ajamil.
Jamil got, whose association he got?
Prostitute.
Prostitute.
He
Oh,
just
okay.
saw first.
Ah.
First he saw.
Bharat Maharaj,
Okay.
Prabhuji.
Bharat Maharaj.
Dearest. Maharaj Bharat
Attached to the deer.
got the association of a deer.
Okay. What else?
And there was one Chintamani pastime, Chintamani and Bilvamangal Thakur. Was it
Yes.
Bilvamangal Thakur?
Yes,
No.
yes,
Yes.
yes, yes. Mataji.
Okay, what else?
Then
Yodhana and Shakuni.
Dhruva and Narayan, no, not Narayan, sorry, Narad Muni guided Dhruva. In how
Before that,
to-
one Mataji is told. What was that?
Yodhana and Shakuni.
Duryodhana and Shakuni. Mantara and Kaikeyi.
Mantara and Kaikeyi.
Yes, Mantara and
Narada
Kaikeyi.
gave association to the Daksha sons. All the Daksha sons got brahmachari. They were inventing tapas, and Narada Rishi converted thousands of people. What else?
Prabhupada and the hippies.
Very good, very good. Prabhupada and hippies. So, the importance of Vaishnava association is the Lord is very much pleased. One time Mahaprabhu, after sannyasi, went to Shiva's Thakur's place and he called all his members in the family and then he immediately showed his 400 form. Srinivas, I am very much, you are surrendered to me, and those who are in your house surrendered to you, my devotees, I will liberate them. He showed 400 form to the entire people in his house. He called everyone, right? And he showed his 400 form and showed his mercy. And also we know from Chaitanya Charitamrita Leela, a dog, Sivananda Sen, the dog was attached to the devotees going and he was taking special care. And Mahaprabhu in Puri, he gave the coconut pulp and he made sure that the dog goes back to Godhead. So that's also pastimes. We know how people are attracted. Somebody told about Srila Prabhupada. We know this Mukunda, Yamuna, Sham Sundar. They didn't have any money when you want to go to London. Prabhupada had 40 rupees coming from India. They didn't have anything. They are a very wealthy family actually. Sham Sundar Prabhu is the lawyer son or grandson or something like that. And generally, UK is pretty cold. You can't step out without jacket and shoes and things like that. It's pretty cold. And they were living in the car shed without any protection, simple, cardboard, using that. And they tried to live just for Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhupada transferred them, a simple association, and they gave up everything. That's because that's why they could able to have Beatles association and develop so much UK yatra. They didn't add anything with them, so we can see that literally um, the association matters. The another negative example is you can talk about Narkashura. Narkashura is the son of Lakshmi Devi and Varagadev. Imagine the son of God. He's become Ashura because the association which he had, because of that he became fell away from that. Even Giriraj Swami, in Mumbai, he was constructing temple. He's a multimillionaire. He was living in a simple place where rats were running and very difficult place to live, but they're all sacrificed. That's because of the association of Srila Prabhupada. So the another example from Krishna Lila, we want to talk about it, this Agashura. Agashura is the brother of Putana and Bagashura. He wants to take revenge, the snake. So he was opened his mouth, and Gopas thought, oh, this is just a cave. And somebody said, no, it's Ashura is going to devour us. But they did not bother. Some of them ran away, said, you are not believing in Krishna. Krishna will protect. All the boys went. Then Krishna came. He also entered into the Agasura mouth and he killed it. But as soon as the Agasura was killed, he's not got Sayuja Mukti. He did not get Brahmajyoti. He did not go and merge. See, generally when Krishna kills the Asuras, they don't get except Putana. Putana was given a motherly place, where in Vaikunta she was given a motherly place. Similarly, this Agasura did not go and merge in the Brahmajyoti. Rather, he went to a place in Krishna Goloka Vrindavan. That's because he had the association of the Gopas. He was having little bit pleasure when the Gopas entered his mouth. He felt little bit happiness. Oh, these kids are playing, about it, positive about it for minutes. So Krishna thought, okay, this is the Vaishnava association, Gopas association is having in the positive way. Then he's talking the merging to Brahmajyoti. They are all liberated to Krishna Loka. So this is the power of any association. What going? So another 4 minutes I need extra to talk about really association. This I would have probably spoken some time back, but it is very, very important to know not everything is association. Right? What we are doing currently now, is it association? Now what we are having satsanga, is it
Yes,
association?
Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji.
You may call it as association, but it is not association. What is association? Means nectar of devotions, the Guhyata, the Prachati. There is one shloka is there, there are 6 kind of loving acts. Anybody can tell what is the 6 kind of loving exchanges?
Offering gifts, accepting gifts,
Exchanging gifts with each
revealing
other.
one's mind and confidence.
Yeah, are we doing it here?
Inquiring.
Are we doing it here?
No.
Then how do you call it as association?
This can be called part association, no, Prabhuji?
Yeah, I'm asking. So if it is, my definition is that it's a Sangha means, association means that 6 loving exchanges, exchanging of gifts, eventually opening your mind. That cannot happen in open forum. You can't speak about your personal things in the open forum. So that's association. Partial. There are various levels of association. So this wonderful shloka talks about phrase. There are different types of sanghas. Since due to lack of time, I will just quickly go over it, but we need to dwell into more time. Sajati Sajati means same profession, it will same critique, like that. So naturally I'm attracted to my professions. Let's say I'm doctor, or software engineer, or I'm a lawyer. Sajati, same jati. Jati means it could be same profession, it could be same community or same locality, same city, or I'm Kannadiga, I'm a Malayali, I'm a Hindi speaking, whatever it is. Sajati, naturally you will have attraction even within Vaishnava community. Snikte means which we are very attached, close, or it could be Sajati means also it could be people who are in the garland seva talking to each other, or person who is in kitchen seva, Rajpok seva. They might have some affiliation than the other devotees in general in temple. You always have, oh, okay, this Mataji comes with me to cook. We do it together, they seva. Like that, no? Sajayate. Sinikte means somebody is little superior and junior, they will have naturally love and affection towards person who is in the same community doing seva. They take care of special of him, just snikte, because there is a little bit of affections or relative. Sadhu Sangha means this Sajatya Sinikte can be a material thing also, spiritual thing also, but Sadhu Sangha means definitely it's spiritual. What we are doing is maybe a Sadhu Sangha, but what is missing is Satvate. This Satvate means confidentially opening your heart. A person also knows about it. It's not opening only heart. The other person knows you for very well. For so long, he been counseling, or you've been talking to him, openly revealing and talking. That is association. It's not that every time I come to the temple, every time I hear Bhagavatam, my association is done. Don't take off. That will not work. I've been time and again, I give this example of going to hospital. You have a disease, but you're not going and getting a prescription. You're just going and sitting there and coming back. You will not get cured. So this Sajatya says, Sinigta says, Sadhu Sangha is like that. Going to the hospital, first case taking antibiotic on your own. But you're not getting this prescriptions, then you will not be able to progress. That's not called association, complete association. The complete association is comes where you physically know some person who is able to guide you, talk to you. Then it is effective. Otherwise, this so-called satsanga may have definitely has a spiritual aspect to it. I'm not saying no, but beyond that also you should have Swatovrite. Otherwise, this is not called complete association. So here Kapiladev is talking about wonderful topics on how one can transfer their attachment. There is definitely no detachment. You can't detach from everything and be there because I said we don't have that. Unless you don't have, how can you do that detachment? So you have to divert the association of Vaishnavas because you see the 5 topics of importance. Sadhu Sangha, staying in Vrindavan Dhamma, deity worship, chanting, Bhagavatam. So Rupa Goswami talks about this, out of which one is Sangha. So this is the 5 important angas of bhakti. The key 5 importance of anga bhakti, one is association. Everybody should. That's why most of the time I'll give you some task. I ask you to go and discuss. I ask you to pick up some name to talk to me directly. See, for example, here Krishnamurti Prabhu, he made an attempt to me. He came only once. He's very far. I am very far. But at least he had an attempt. I want to talk to you, Prabhu. We met one time, a couple of times. We spoke in person and over phone, but still there is a different relationship I him have because that is not like common of any of you like of you. Because unless you make an effort to meet somebody, exchange loving exchange, then the bonding becomes really good. Otherwise, it's really remains that okay, we will meet you on Thursdays and Hare Krishna to you, right? That is not going to help in longer run. So with this small, there's a lot more to be said, but I would stop here because of time. And if you have any corrections, I'm happy to take it. Somebody said Mrigari, Navakuvera, Nalakuvera, what happened? What association he had? Archana Mataji, what is the Nalakuvera example? Silent.
They were engaged in pleasureful activities in front of Narad Muni, who caused them to become the trees, na Prabhuji.
Yeah, it's good or bad?
It is good, Prabhuji. It is instructive as well as punishment giving. At the same time, it helped them to have the association of the Lord.
So we should also do bad things, bad of Vaishnavas, right?
Not like that, Prabhuji.
You only said good, no?
No, Prabhuji. It was both punishment giving as well as pleasurable association of the Lord. So it was uplifting.
No problem. Thank you, Mataji. Rajalakshmi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Prabhuji, since we are going ahead with this Kapila's teachings, Lord Kapila's teachings now, can we request that we can have only 2 or 3 shlokas, Prabhuji, because these are very intense for us to understand and follow. And even after, exalted devotees like you explain, we don't understand it completely, Prabhu. 5 is like an overdose for us. So this chapter, can we request to be going a little slow, Prabhu? 2 or 3 itself is like too much in depth is my opinion, Prabhuji. So I thought I'll just seek your permission on this.
Okay, that's a good suggestion. I'm not interfering with the management because it's
I'll
practically
let
also.
Ashish Prabhuji know.
So,
Yes,
so I
Prabhuji.
will let. Second aspect is that, let's say somebody is going to restaurant, right? Then the waiter is coming and asking, "Tell me what you want." You'll say, "No, no, no. Just I want to see people how they're eating. By seeing their eating, I will get my stomach fulfilled." Or you say, "No, no. I just came." And to just just relax, I don't want anything in the restaurant. Why people would go to restaurant? For what they go generally, in general?
To eat.
So why do you come to Satsanga today? Why you come today for attending this class?
To learn, Prabhuji. To have more knowledge.
Labamatra sadhu sangam.
Okay. So okay, what did day before yesterday Prabhu told? Tell me one point.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Ah.
Prabhuji, in the last, not the last class, Prabhuji, the previous class, one Prabhuji said about the devotee association, about the triple E, Prabhuji, where one E stands for, after taking the devotee association, one becomes enthusiastic and one becomes enlightened, and he becomes enriched, Prabhuji, by the devotee association.
Very good. So what happens is when you go for a student, whenever they want to remember in the anything on the exam, the school, if you see, ask them to write. Why do they ask them to write? It is just that they can tell any of they can YouTube videos are there, books are there. Nowadays books are so good with the illustration, colorful printing. They give a summary also, synopsis also, table also. They don't need to take notes, but still they ask you to write because once you write, it gets into your head. Previously, when before this electronic gadgets were not there, where we go to Bhagavatam classes, we always have a book. Whether we revision it or not, but at least we will try to write. But how many of you taken notes here today? Just like going to a restaurant saying, no, I just hear Prabhu. Means it will not go into your head. You will not remember. Out of which one Mataji could able to remember. Probably should have written it down or remember it later. So first point is that taking a notes sincerely. Then half of the things the chances of remembering is very high. If you're not writing it down, 99% you will forget what I spoke today after some time. Second aspect, after 2 hours, if you want to really remember something, then you revise it. What are the key points, 3 or 4 points which I told today that you want to remember. Then today again in the evening or tomorrow morning, you try to recollect. This is the process to retain at least 80% of the knowledge, or at least 50% of the knowledge what I spoke. You don't do follow any of this process, still you want to remember, not possible. It's just like going to the another restaurant, say, I'll just see, then you will not remember. One is understanding. Of course, it's a good suggestion. I'm not blaming that. That's an equivalently valid option. At the same time, what is your effort? What is that you're doing it to remember? Are we reading it? Okay, that's okay. We could not able to cover. The intention is that if you go very slow, you will be lost. You don't know what is happening in the sequence. There's other way to look at it. At least 5 shlokas, we know we are at least completed third cantos now. Remember, it's still we have to complete 12th canto. I know how long, how many years it will go. Even Shloka Prabhupada, one shloka per day you have to read. 18,000 shlokas. It will take 30, 40 years. Probably I like may not be living in this planet for that many years. So one thing is your effort to do every day. Are you reading and come? Did you prepare and come? Did you ask me question? Okay, this is the shloka. At least four shlokas they're doing. Let me read and come. And have you done your homework? This also matters. So what is that your effort and what is we can try to help you with pictures and things like that. That's why I reduced a lot of topics. Out of all these topics, I took only association because I didn't want to dwell. At the same time, I want to cover this pattern. So I just covered it, shlokas, little bit of explanation. But my focus out of 5, I chose only one, association. And I want to stress and give many examples, go in depth, do's and don'ts. What is association definition means and what is this Satovrata and the shlokas reference from Chaitanya Charitamrita. So that will go into your head. That's why I didn't talk too many topics. So this speaker can enable you to learn something because every time you read Bhagavatam, it's not that you can learn. Next day you read it, the same shloka somebody did it, you'll give a different perspective. Another day it's different perspective. So the perspectives will be keep changing, keep hearing it even though you read 200 times, 1,000 times, 10,000 times. But how much I'm able to take a notes, revise it, really interested, a person who is studying for the 10th to a board exams, now NEET exams, how many times they would have prepared, revised it. Then if you ask them, they'll remember something. Why the kids are able to remember? Because they've been practicing it, they're revising it. They give multiple times test, quiz, attempting. So that is the way to remember even the spiritual knowledge. Don't expect to come and sit 3-4 hours, expect to learn everything. That's not possible. Sorry if I spoken too much, but these are good practices to adopt.
Hare
Meenakshi,
Krishna, Prabhuji.
I
Thank you
don't know
so
we
much.
have time or not. I have time, but it's up to the moderator to allow or not allow.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for advising us to read more and assimilate whatever has been taught, Prabhuji. Such a wonderful class. Prabhuji, I have a small doubt, Prabhuji. Could I ask?
Yeah, please.
Prabhuji, in the text 20 purport, it says a sadhu, even though one is found not to be following the strict rules and regulations of devotional service, if one simply has unflinching faith in Krishna, the Supreme Person, he is understood to be a sadhu. Sadhu revasa mantapya. How do we decipher this, Prabhuji?
Sorry, where is that? Which paragraph? Give me one keyword.
Prabhuji, second paragraph, fourth line.
Even though one is not following the strict rules and regulation of devotional service, if one simply has unflinching faith in Krishna, is understood to be a sadhu. Prabhupada, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita also, initial days they may not have. Some of the times the devotees are beyond rules and regulation and obligations because they are surrendered to Krishna. Once you surrender to Krishna, actually, most of Vaishnavas are very careful to national scenarios. You might see a devotee might be that in situation, but they would have there are a lot of examples in Chaitanya Charitamrita. You would see externally they may not be devotee, but internally they would as soon as the chance get, and you see them Pundika Vidyanidhi, for example, you would have very opulently dressed and things like that. So when they saw what is this kind of person he is, that's what Gadadhar Pandit thought. But as soon as Bhagavatam spoken, then he started rolling on the ground. So like that, there are sometimes you see that they may not be following externally so-called rules and regulations. It seems to be materially attached, but they are internally realized to soul. So we can't judge externally sometimes. That's what it means.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
In general, all the Vaishnava acharyas ensure that they follow rules and regulations. Set an example, but there are acharyas whom you can't. There are many examples like that in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Pundarik Vidyanidhi, and few other people you may not externally. There are sometimes externally they might be well, but internally they might be demonic also. For example, Hiranyakashipu, when Hiranyaksha was killed, he started giving advice to his family members, and he quotes, it is Bhagavad Gita 2.0. If you remove Hiranyakashipu Vacha and you put as replaced with Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan Vacha, it will be 2.0. He'll say soul, all these sticks comes together in the river, then they separate apart. Why are you crying? Then he would quote from Yamadharmaraj, he would come as a boy and he would tell, there is a bird came, hunter came, he killed the female bird. The men bird was so much lamenting, it also went and caught another arrow, shot him. You should have escaped. Too much attachment is the problem. You would give that example, analogy and all, as if you would speak, there is a soul, body is entirely different. Exactly Bhagavad Gita 2.0, but he's a demonic person. So sometimes externally if you only that context, if you take and remove Hiranyakashipu Vasa without context, you read that, there is no difference between what Krishna spoke in Bhagavad Gita second chapter and what Hiranyakashipu spoke. But of course, he is Jai Vijay. That's a different altogether. But in this context, he's a demonic person, right? He's Ashura. But sometimes people might externally, that's what Prabhupada is sadhu means not with the dadi, big dadi and saffron. No, it is not that in the purport we saw. So it is what is that the unflinching faith on the Krishna. That's very important. And also we from Ramanujacharya story that Vardaraja Kanchipurna was directly to the Lord. And one time he asked Ramanujacharya, ask, he's speaking to the Lord, no, ask him when I will go back to Godhead. Then he went to Kanchipurna, went to Kanchi, Varadaraj. He said, Varadaraj, I have a question. He was fanning after the meal of the Lord. There's one dude asking, will go back. He said, in this lifetime, we'll go back. Oh, really? Then he thought, should I ask or not? My request when I will go back. He was hesitant. But Lord said, seems to be, please go ahead. And Kanchipurna said, okay, me. He said, it'll take 2-3 more lifetime. He said, why? He said, you are serving me directly. You're not serving my Vaishnavas. Those who serve Vaishnavas, they will guaranteed go back in this time. But you're directly serving me, so there is less chance that you go back in this lifetime. Kanchipurna got shock of life and he threw all the chamara and he was running. But Lord Vardaraja called, hey, where are you going? Where are you running? He said, no, I want to serve Vaishnavas, then I'll come back to your service. He went and asked everybody, please give me service. Everybody knows he's talking directly to such a Bhagavata person. Nobody gave Eva to any Vaishnavas. Please forgive us. We are not qualified to give any service to you. So he was so deprived. He has disguised himself and he has to do some seva. Then he would come back. So similarly, externally there may be different, but you may be a devotee. But yeah, Vaishnava seva is something important, which Varadaraja also. I can keep talking about these examples one after another, why importance of association of Vaishnava.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I have a doubt to ask Prabhuji last. Is it okay, Prabhuji?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhuji. In the Nectar of Instruction, that Dadati Shloka Pratigrihnati, when one reveals his mind in confidence and inquiring confidentially all from other devotee, what sorts of things that they can discuss, Prabhuji? Is it about material or spiritual? Or if at all they are doing spiritual talks, will there be an offense when they are revealing everything to the other devotee? Hare Krishna.
You don't reveal to anyone else. That's why I said there are only few people who can reveal. The criteria is that the other person has a really serious interest on you to guide you, and you accepted him as a guru or shiksha guru, and you want to follow him. It's not that you just instruction, you leave him. One. Number two, he knows you for some time and you're meeting him. He knows your background, your family background. You've been associated in terms of quite some time and you've been regularly hearing from him. And he's also genuine interest to guide you. And he's not that he has a 1 lakh, 2 lakh followers. Whenever he asks, you will reply. No, this is person who has been, you are in touch with him regularly. He sees your behavior. He can make out what are you doing it. Those kind of person is what will reveal your mind. And you are also capable of understanding the Shastras. He understood well all the Shastras and he gives the in line with the parampara, any suggestion is going to give. Of course, if anything which is material means mainly it's spiritual, but spiritual solution also solves the material problem. Any material problem, spiritual is the solution. Any material problem, cannot be any other material problem. Later you are sinking up in the material world, taking birth and death. Through any of the material means you can come out of it. There's no way you can come out of only by the spiritual progress. So always material problems, spiritual solutions, what will work out. For spiritual also, material also, spiritual solution only will work. Material problem will never work out. Of course, there are something hindering to your spiritual life, some material aspect. It could be getting married or changing your job. This could be it could be a big issue when you stuck with some company where you're not supposed to join, a lot of work, and because due to which you have to go away from Krishna consciousness. It is a material decision, but of course it is part of spiritual. When we say and what is that shloka in Shuddha Bhakti in Rasamrita Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu? Anyabheleshita Shunyam Jnana Karmadi Jnana Karmadi Sunyam. He didn't never say that. And we also do karma. Devotees also do karma. Does that mean we are not doing pure bhakti? No, it is anukule. It is any karma or jnana. We are also accumulate jnana. Somebody said, I came here to get jnana. You are doing then it's not a pure bhakti, no? It is not like that. So which is favorable to Krishna consciousness, that karma and bhakti, that karma and jnana is very good. I need to know Sambandha Gyan. Here Prabhupada talk about Gyan, it's Sambandha Gyan. So the person who knows Sambandha Gyan is able to guide. It could be material thing, but it is pure bhakti because it is entering my spiritual life. So those kind of karma and jnana, even though it's materialistic activity, is part of pure bhakti. So which will form of pure bhakti, which will become fall of material thing, that will come by experience. So the person who is guiding it, even though he gives a material suggestion or spiritual suggestion, most of the time, whatever he gives, it will be a spiritual solution, which will also solve material problem. Sometimes we need to also talk about material problem because that's what's hindering your spiritual progress. So you can't term it as a material problem. It should be part of spiritual issue or a bhakti. That also Shuddha Bhakti only. So all this criteria you need to apply to a person whom you select.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Krishna.
This is the short answer, but in detail, yes, we have to discuss. Unless you don't have
Hare
that
Krishna.
person, nobody's monitoring you, nobody's asking you, then you will not be able to progress. Sadhu Sangha means you just come to the hospital with everyone, you say you meet the compounder or the receptionist because you've been coming every day. They also sweetly treat with you. Worst case, you take on your own some antibiotic, thinking that if I chant this, if I read this mantra, I will become removed out of my anarthas, I will come out of it, I am progressing. Your progress, somebody from outsiders needs to see. You yourself may be able to make something out, but completely another person can tell you, hey, you are going out of track or something. That other person who knows regularly, then only he will be able to tell. So if that person is not there, then it is not complete association. You should not call it as association.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Pranams, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so
Please
much for
forgive
your
me
wonderful
if I
association,
spoken
Prabhuji.
anything more than my quality, or hurt you in any way. My intention is that we are all go back to each other, help each other, because a friend is the person who gives proper critics, helps the other people to progress in the bhakti. So please forgive me if I spoken beyond my capacity.
No, Prabhuji, every day your class, every time is a booster for us, reminding us to read more and prepare more, Prabhuji. So we are very much blessed and grateful to you for your association, Prabhuji. If no other devotees have any questions, shall we end the class with prayers, Prabhuji?
Yes.
Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo Ananta Vaishnava ki jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai Hare Krishna Prabhuji pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much,
Hare
Prabhuji, for
Krishna,
the
Krishna Prabhuji, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna devotees, I am ending the session. Thank you all. Let's meet tomorrow at 9:30 evening.